So in this next part of the video, we're going to be finding percent of a number, and we're going to focus specifically on using it in a fraction format. So using fractions, we're going to be finding the percent of a number. Now, what you have to remember is percents are always based out of 100. So for each of these 4 problems, you're always going to start off with a fraction, and you're going to put 100 on the bottom. So we're going to start with a fraction, and we're going to put 100 on the bottom. We're going to start with a fraction and put 100 on the bottom. And we're going to start with a fraction and put 100 on the bottom. And that's because, like I said, percents are based out of 100. Now, all you have to do to figure out what the percent of a number is as a fraction is you're going to get your percent and put it above 100. So you can see that they have given us 5%. All you're going to do is put 5 over 100. So put your percent over 100, and then all you have to do is multiply by whatever number they provide for you. And that's it. That's all we're going to be doing. Now, if you look at this fraction here, you can see that it can be simplified. 5 and 100 share a greatest common factor, and that's going to be 5. So I'm basically going to simplify that, and that's going to give me 1 over 20. And then all you have to do is multiply. 1 times 300 gives us 300. And then since this is a whole number, I'm gonna put it over 1. And then 20 times 1 will give me 20. Then you can see that you have 300 over 20. You're just gonna divide. Here's a little trick. This 0 can cancel out that 0. And then you have 30 over 2, which is 15. So that's going to be your answer. 5% of 300 is going to be 15. Or you can say 15 is 5% of 300. So we're going to practice again. We're going to do this one now. 8% of 125. So all you have to do is get your percent, put it over 100. That's going to be our fraction. Since it's a fraction, I'm going to simplify it. The number that goes into both 8 and 100, I'm going to try 4. So I'm going to divide by 4. Because 4 goes into both of them. And that's going to give you 8 divided by 4 is 2. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So I have simplified this number. And then all you have to do now is multiply that by the number they give you. They gave you 125, so all we're going to do is multiply by 125. Since that's a whole number, I'm going to put it over 1. And then you're going to multiply 2 times 125, which gives me 250. And then 25 times 1, which gives me 25. If you ignore that 0, you're going to realize that 25 divided by 25 equals 1. But since you have a 0, it's actually going to be 10. So there you go. There you have it. 8% of 125 is going to be 10. Or you can also say that 10 is 8% of 125. Okay, next number. You're able to have percents over 100, so I don't want you to get intimidated. It's still the same process. You're going to grab your percent and you're going to put it over 100. So we're going to simplify this. Remember, my little trick is that a 0 could cancel out a 0. So technically we have 12 and 10 because this 0 has canceled out that 0. The number that goes into 12 and 10 is going to be 2. So we're going to divide by 2. That's going to give me 6 over 5. So I could ignore this number now. And then all you have to do is multiply by the number, which is 75. So you're going to do 6 times 75. This gives us 450. And you're going to divide that by 5. So we're going to do a little trick where we ignore the 0. 45 divided by 5 is 9. And then don't forget there was a 0, so it's going to be 90. So there you have it. 120% of 75 is 90. Now, let's do this problem. Start with your percent over 100. We're going to simplify that if you can, which in this case you can. We're going to simplify this by 25. That's going to give us 5 over 4. So we don't need this number anymore. And now we're going to multiply that by the number they give us. So you're going to do 5 times 64. Which gives me 320. And then you're going to divide that by 4. So the little trick that we've been doing, hide a 0. 32 divided by 4 is 8. And then you have a 0, so that's 80. And then that means that 125% of 64 is 80. And there you go. That's how we find the percent of a number. Now, before I end this video, I want to show you something. And this is a kind of a little way for you to check to make sure that you are correct. So if the percent is smaller than 100, like this one, you see how the percent's smaller than 100? And then this one, the percent's smaller than 100. If the percent is smaller than 100, your answer, which was, this one was 15, is going to be smaller than the number they gave you. So once again, if the percent is smaller than 100, then your answer should be smaller than the number. So let's check this one again. You see how my percent's smaller than 100? That means my answer, 10, should be smaller than 125. So that checks out. Now, if your percent is bigger than 100, so you see this is 120%, that's bigger than 100, then your answer, which was 90, should be bigger than the number they gave us. So I'm going to repeat that again. If your percent is over 100, that means that the answer you got should be bigger than the number they gave you. So there you go. That is this part of the video where we found the percent of a number as a fraction.